Okay, call the meeting to order of the July 2nd, 2013 regular town board meeting. Roll call, Mr. Cordy.
Here.
Mrs. Locks.
Here.
Mr. Holt.
Here.
Ms. Shriver.
Here.
Excuse me.
And Mr. Swirzak.
Here.
Making a dramatic entrance.
I just put up the right now. On board, the board has on that agenda, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't receive an agenda.
Didn't you?
Okay, was there anything else sent out?
There were attachments to the plan.
Yes.
I didn't receive those either. You left that in the minutes, Jennifer. I
Okay.
received no packet. Appreciate it, and I hope next time I will receive one.
That was supposed to come out of the clerk's office.
Okay.
It might not be a bad idea to,
I only sent packets to those people that had left me an email,
Sure.
and I didn't,
Okay.
I thought maybe Joyce was picking those up here. Nobody told me. I'm kind of in
That's
the
all
dark
right.
here, so.
might not be a bad idea just to maybe amend the agenda, I guess, and add a topic, just so we can discuss the status of Mr. Holt. I guess, in his appointment to the board, we can discuss that. So it might be appropriate for someone to make that motion to put
I
it on
make
the
a
agenda.
motion that we do that.
You have a motion?
Back to the packet, Joyce, do you want an email?
I'll come pick it up. You can call me.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Locks, is that correct?
Someone's fine. Oh,
No,
Brian can't
yeah,
make a
yeah,
motion.
I was recommending.
okay, recommending, okay.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Did I get a motion? I know Dennis seconded the motion.
And I made the motion.
Okay, so I was correct. Okay, motion by Mrs. Locks, seconded by Mr. Cordy.
Right, and I'm not suggesting the board take a vote on it or anything, I'm just for discussion purposes,
To add a discussion, which can be under old business, actually.
right.
And then that, if the discussion is to take place under old business, I don't know that. Okay, I've got a motion second to add a discussion under old business regarding the status of Ralph Holt.
Right, the trustee appointment.
All those in favor of that motion to add that item under old business?
Aye. No.
Okay. Is that a majority aye?
I didn't hear it, no. I didn't hear
I'm
it.
voting present because I'm not
Sure.
going to
Right,
get involved in that
right.
one.
Okay. I guess since we're voting, I guess it's I think, since Mr. Holt's status is, I guess, under review, I guess we would probably put it that way. I mean, if ultimately he is determined to be ineligible, and if.
Well, wait, are we taking this up at 50-50, or is it a required majority? I'm wrong, people representing Holt.
We can bring up an item under old business without a motion. You
Right.
can have any kind of discussion.
Right.
So there really is not a motion required to discuss a topic during.
Right, and that's correct. I was hoping to bring it up under new business, just to discuss it before we got to votes. But I mean, it could be discussed under old business, and you're right, it could be discussed under old business. It's already been
If we
brought up previously.
want to
Right.
have a motion.
Right.
Since they're not,
That's correct.
I don't think I have a majority vote in favor of that motion, if I'm correct. Can you show me,
I think you're right.
2-2,
Yeah.
and one
So it
abstain.
was
Right.
not
I think you're
a
right.
majority vote, actually.
Right.
It was just like a tie, okay. Okay, so we can have that discussion under old business, since it is a topic from a prior meeting. At this time, I'm going to ask for public participation, which is the next item on the agenda.
Excuse me, it failed to get on the agenda to pledge the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
And we eliminate the public petition to 2 minutes.
Is that a rule?
Yes, it is as of right now.
Are you allowed to make rules, or does this board make the rules?
I mean, it's the moderator of the meeting, he does have the authority.
I think that's gotta be in the, I think it's gotta be in the rules. I will take 2 minutes anyway. I just am here, my name's Joseph W. Hayden, 1014 West Washington Street. I'm here to check on the status of my request last meeting, that the times be changed to a more appropriate time for the general public to attend instead of 3 o'clock. Also the, excuse me, status of the webpage request, if there's an update for that. Back to the meeting time, I would also, at this time, as a citizen, request that we also consider changing to a different meeting place. We know of a number of people crunched in here, and City Hall is an excellent place that is more ADA accessible as well. That's it. Am I under 2 minutes?
Okay. Is there anyone else for the public participation portion of the meeting?
I'm not sure where I fall in. I have some questions. Dean Hart, 100 North 81st Street. I was provided the salaries and claims for the town fund as a duly representative of the township as collector by city statute, and questions the payees for the salaries. There seems to be one person missing from this, and Nancy is not on this list, this payee.
I think we have a general assistance.
Right.
It's a separate fund.
Paid from general assistance, okay. Yeah, you don't have to answer no, but that's great. Thank you
No, I
very
just
much.
meant I didn't know.
Right.
I don't want to be out of place here.
And then my question is regards to the listing of salaries. This appears to be, I'm not sure if these are weekly, bi-weekly, or is this monthly salaries? Because the report states it's from 7/1 to 7/31, which would be a month. However, the salaries seem inconsistent.
7/2.
See, it's on.
Through today.
I got it on there.
Salaries for period 7/1 to
It
7/31.
runs for the month, but then it should be on there. It should
Made
be
approved
on
for
there.
payment, so this is a payment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have copies and I don't.
Yeah, see, 7/1, okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, though. That is posted on the top. I put on there from the beginning of the month to the meeting date. But the board, the trustees, the supervisor, two girls in the office, and the trustees get paid every 2 weeks. They get paid twice a month. But then the town clerk and the deputy clerk is paid once a month.
And
They get paid the second meeting.
trustees and supervisor and Mr. Flynn are paid, not every 2 weeks, but the first and
Yeah,
third Tuesday. So
first and 15th.
yeah.
It's first and 15th, yeah.
Okay.
And the attorney gets paid once a month, for the second meeting, yeah. Like the clerk and deputy.
Gotcha.
And then, just a statement, I guess, is all I can make on claims of the attorney costs paid out of the general fund or paid through the check register.
It's paid out of town fund, the check register, out of town fund. See, it won't be on there till, it'll be on the second meeting,
Okay.
yeah, with the town clerk and the deputy clerk.
Okay. But this is a month, this meeting's held, this township meets monthly.
Twice.
Twice.
Any other comments for public participation?
Points before we get into the meeting, I'll go ahead and state during public participation that, in regards to Mr. Holt, I mean, I guess, obviously the board voted a couple weeks ago to appoint him. I know the matter's under review by the state's attorney. I assume by, Mr. Holt's presence that obviously he wants to remain a part of the board. I assume that's fair to assume. If it is deemed to be determined that Mr. Holt is in fact ineligible to be a part of the board, if he has a swing vote on anything today, I mean, obviously any votes would be subject to challenge. If it's 3-2 and Mr. Holt is on the prevailing side, that is something that I just think the board should take into consideration. So if we are trying to do anything to change anything, it might not be bad to just table anything, whether it be for the website, time and place of the meeting, just until such time that everything is, it's very clear as to what happens. Because I do believe Mr. Holt's appointment is subject to challenge, whether it comes from the state's attorney's office, the attorney general, or a citizen can challenge as well.
Anything else for the public portion of the meeting?
Yeah, well, I still got some time left. I want to ask the township attorney, when you say under review, who placed it under review?
Who placed, well, under the quo warranto provision of the Code of Civil Procedure, it could be, the state's attorney can review it all himself. I mean, nobody needs to make a review. I mean,
Has anybody?
I've been in contact with the state's attorney's office, yeah, I mean, I've talked to him about it, but, if you're asking whether or not somebody needs to make a complaint, no, I mean, he can do it on his own. I mean, obviously, the reviews article's written about it, and he reads about it, and he feels that it's something worth investigating, he can do it on his own.
What authority would the state's attorney have to make a decision? He's not a judge.
You're right.
I mean, what's he gonna do, cite somebody with a crime? I mean, there's
No.
crime
He would file a lawsuit against Mr. Holt and have him removed. If he
On whose behalf, who's standing?
state of Illinois, he represents the people of the state of Illinois, and he could bring a civil lawsuit on their behalf, and it would ultimately be up to a judge. But if Mr. Kelly determines that he wants to bring that lawsuit, that's up to him. And if he declines, the citizen can bring that, and then ultimately it will be up to a judge. But Mr. Kelly has discretion whether or not to file a lawsuit.
Okay.
Because he represents, you said crime, he represents the state in civil and criminal matters.
So, but at this juncture, the board, if I'm reading it right as a citizen, that the board has voted to seat him.
You're right.
Your opinion was that he was not, if I read the B and D correctly, was that he could not be seated because he was not part of the good government party, is that correct?
I believe the name of the party is Belleville Good Government.
Belleville Good Government.
Right.
Now, when I read the statute, it stated that was, if it was an established party.
Okay.
Are you stating they're an established party?
Absolutely. I don't know if you reviewed the election code, Mr. Hayden, but
No, I'm asking.
no, I am telling you, yeah, it is. They're an established political party.
But they ran in 20.
Well, there's a difference between a new political party and established. The difference being, if a candidate receives 5% of the vote at the election, it becomes established. It's all in the election code. I'd be happy to review it with you after the meeting. But I'm not sure if more discussion during public participation is appropriate. But I really would be happy to discuss with you at the meeting.
So you're telling me at this juncture they're an established party?
Absolutely. That's pretty clear in the election code. Okay.
I'd like to make a comment. Joe Swears, a trustee. Since we're airing out Mr. Holt's situation here, the comment in the newspaper from you, you're calling this a rogue board, does that include yourself?
I'm not part of the board.
That's, I question your leadership ability and knowledge of this township. To you make a comment like that, you have the ability to lead and counsel this group, calling it a rogue board, and
well,
it appears that you're only here to represent Mr. Cordy and the Belleville Good Government Party.
I don't know what you're basing that comment off of.
The comment in the newspaper.
Well, if we have a board taking illegal actions, which I believe that they are, it would be a rogue board. But ultimately, like I said, it would be up to a judge to determine. It is just my opinion. That's where we are. That's why I asked Mr. Kelly to review it.
On behalf of Mr. Holt, then, whom do you represent, Mr. Flynn?
I represent the board.
Okay. And you are compensated by the board, correct?
Right.
All right. And on behalf of Mr. Flynn, again, I'm Ron Dubert, it would appear that if Mr. Holt's appointment was violative of the law, and he is not agreeing with that at this point, that if there were another appointee, he would have to be having held office in the Belleville party, the Belleville Good Government Party, or have voted in the last primary election. Since the party doesn't have primary election, the only person that could have been appointed under the statute 60 ILCS 1/60-5D, it says, the appointee shall establish his or her political party affiliation by his or her record of voting in the party primary elections, or by holding or having held an office in a political party organization before appointment. Again, Mr. Holt is not agreeing at this point.
I think you left off the last part of the statute, where it says you participate in the nominating or caucus process.
That's,
So, I mean, that's fine. I mean,
then the appointee shall establish his or her political party affiliation by his or her record of participating in a political party's nomination or election caucus.
Okay, great.
So there we have it. I have been in contact with Mr. Kelly also, and I think that Mr. Flynn is correct that at this point, Mr. Kelly has been in contact with me, and they would, any action that the board takes could be subject to review by the court.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting that I would bring it to the court for review. I'm just saying that the citizen or Mr. Kelly could bring it to the court. I was just advising the board of that.
I'd like to point something out too, that a vote was called to appoint Mrs. McHugh, and had she been passed, everything would have been fine. And it just, that seems quite obvious, and it failed, and we appointed passing vote for Mr. Holt, and now here we are. I just think there's some double standards there.
Well, Mrs. McHugh was at the party.
I mean, I didn't write the code, Mr. Swarzak. I didn't make the rules. Just the status of them.
She read
Good point.
So. I'll just any more public participation, or if we can go
Do
to
we
close it.
proceed with the meeting, or do we have any other public participation at this point today?
Melinda Holt, 421 East C Street. I do have a question for the attorney, Mr. Flynn, why he did not bring up the problem with the statute, as one would assume his job was at the time this issue was raised.
I wasn't aware Mr. Holt was going to be appointed. It wasn't something that I.
That does not
researched.
affect the statute. Should you not have been familiar with the statute?
You're right. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have the township code memorized, because I certainly don't. But I'm also not going to be scared to admit something after the fact that say I wasn't aware of it one day, and I'm not going to say that I didn't go and research it and give the board proper advice after the fact. I mean, I obviously could have just let this go, and I didn't, because it's my ethical duty to advise the board.
I do have some issues with that. Can I ask why you did not notify Mr. Holt directly?
I wrote him a letter. I mean, he was copied on a letter to Mr. Cordy. I sent it to him.
Eventually.
Same day I sent it to Mr. Cordy, I sent it to Mr. Holt. The exact same day.
Let's close the public participation, move on to the meeting.
The next portion of the meeting, moving on, is the approval of the minutes.
Can I have a copy, please?
Sure.
Did we amend the minutes? I'd like a copy of the amended minutes from the previous meeting.
Yeah, I have those. In fact, I'll just pass these around for everybody. I know some people did receive them already, some may have not, but those are the minutes from the June 4th, 2013, as amended. The motion was already made at the last meeting to approve them, however, we do not need a motion at this point in time to approve the June 4th minutes. They've already been approved as amended. The only thing I'm asking for today is a motion to approve the June 18th minutes. They have not yet been approved. If you get a chance or not had a chance to review those, please do so now, and then I'd like to ask for a motion to approve those.
Thanks.
Anybody have one?
This is today's.
Mrs. Locks was on there, I think it was. Was that the only change, Jennifer, on the amendment, was the taking?
From the June 4th minutes, there was a correction to the first paragraph noting that Mrs. Locks was excused. Also, a correction to, under the minutes, I believe I incorrectly had Mrs. Locks as a second, approving those. And then again to the first paragraph on the page 2, showing again that Mrs. Locks was excused. Those three things had to be corrected, so.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the June 18th regular meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, minutes approved. The next item on the agenda are the claims. Just had a chance to review those. If not, please take time now to do so. And I'd like to ask for a motion for approval of the claims.
I'm gonna keep it yours real quick, and do my copy.
Cut off on the left side, made some
Yeah,
notes
yeah.
myself.
The registration for the 4 seminars, that would be myself, Mr. Swerzik is Dallas Cook going,
Aye.
or, oh, you're gonna go? Okay. And who's the 4th, Mr. Cordy?
No.
No?
They handle that
Oh,
from the
okay.
township office. I have nothing to do with that, so I can't answer that question.
So there's 4.
That's your, to show your registration.
Me and Jim and claims, there's 4 that are going to the seminar, myself, Joe, Mrs. Locks, and
Dallas.
Dallas is going, okay, it's going, yes. Thank you.
I make a motion we approve.
I'll second.
I have a question now that it's been motioned and seconded. What is this insurance for the Teamsters? $3,010 for 1 month? Isn't that a little much? That's $3,600 or $36,000 a year for insurance.
Right. 300 and, what is it, 301 a week per person. That's health insurance.
Through the Teamsters Union,
$301 a week
Mm-hmm.
per person. And that's for how many people?
3,
would that be Nancy, Debbie, and yourself? or-
correct.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
Why would the Teamsters Union be used for the insurance? Teamsters, it just seems confusing. I mean, you think truck drivers with Teamsters.
Because the girls in the office here belong to the Teamsters local.
So the Teamsters local, it's just a strange local to belong to.
Well, they think they belong, I think City Hall belongs to the Teamsters also.
The clerical union is the Teamsters.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, just seems odd.
I have a motion and a second for approval of the claims. If there's no more questions, I'll take a roll call vote on the claims. Any other questions? Cordy?
Aye.
Mrs. Locke?
Aye.
Mr. Holt?
Present?
Ms. Schreiber?
Aye.
Mr. Squareside?
Aye.
Okay.
You sign these duplicate copies, please.
Right, that's not sure. I'm guessing it started up here.
I thought mine was good.
It's probably just a lot of signatures like that. You got some
Just
stamps.
don't-
You got
yeah.
some stamps.
I'm sure nobody can read mine except for me.
Got carried away.
Do we have a sign-in sheet for all of them?
Yeah, I do have a notepad, like I can pass them around.
Do I take this with me to the seminar?
You can, they should, I called up there and talked to Brian Smith and told him you're all
Okay.
going to save. I would carry that along with you. Just in
Right,
case,
that's what I
it'll
was
show
thinking.
that, yeah, they should
Right.
have a packet made up. You're supposed to
Right.
get the guides and duties handbook.
Right.
Or, I mean, I'm sorry, what's my job?
Jennifer, please.
They'll have the new
Gotcha.
guides and duties on sale there you can buy.
Right.
Thank you.
Transportation to and from, I mean, if we all want to carpool, because it's no sense taking 4 vehicles, should we reimburse if we use a rental, or should we just bring gas receipts, or?
Just pass that around. Bring it to the office and let that be approved right at the meeting.
Right, exactly. So I guess I'll have that added to the next agenda. Well, no, that'll be after the seminar, the next meeting.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, moving on to announcements. Dennis, do you have any?
No announcements.
New business, Union United Methodist Church, sack lunch program.
Yeah, we have in the past supported the sack lunch program, excuse me, at the United Methodist Church. And they're in the midst of their summer sack lunch feeding program. They take 144 lunches into the poor neighborhoods every week. And they also have 72 sack lunches at the main campus, besides their food pantry. And we have, last year in May, we allocated out of the town fund community development money, $1,000. I'm suggesting we raise that to $1,500 this year because of the fact that there were a lot of poor, hungry people. I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll second that. Dennis, I have one question. How many more people, children are there in this program, do you know?
There's actually families.
Families?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't realize that.
right.
Okay.
Do we know how the United Methodist Church, how they do their outreach to locate the families?
I'm sorry.
Do we know what process United Methodist uses for outreach to locate the families?
No, I leave that up to Reverend Ed Weston. He's
Okay.
a very knowledgeable person and does a good job.
Right.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, I'll ask for a roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Cordy?
Aye?
Mrs. Locke?
Aye.
Mr. Holt?
Present?
Ms. Schreiber?
Aye.
Mr. Squareside?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And the website, excuse me, the website update, we've been working on that. Nancy's been working on it. We're trying to talking to some folks, and we have nothing solid on that as yet.
I've got some information that I had pulled out, some copies of it. As far as the type of information, go ahead and pass them down, Neil. Type of information that I think belongs on a website. And there's some attachments on here. I was looking at Basic Initiative, their website, and I think that's really a good prototype to use for something to aim for, because they can put events on there, and, you know, some of this coming out, not, you know, static. So I really like their website. I printed just a copy of one page so that their URL would be at the bottom. Also, I printed a page that says GoDaddy, just for pricing, you can get as little as $2.99 a month, which is a lot less than $10 a month we're paying now. Even their deluxe is $7.49. That's deluxe, where you can go in and make your own updates and do uploads, just for a guide. I think Basic Initiative, since they focus on education and stuff like that, I think we should be able to approach them. Did anybody not get a copy yet?
I did not get one, I think it went past me here.
I got one more extra for the crowd. I think we could ask Basic if they have students that are handy with web design, you know, and ask them to do a prototype, something like that. Maybe they have a couple different students that would want to kind of compete with designing the website.
I know their college, I know like Ring College, they have they have a group of students that, you know, try to do things like that for free for experience.
Right, exactly.
That-
It would be a good route to do, and I really like the prototype of using the Basic Initiative. And we could handshake with them as far as having links to each other, since they're both, you know, assistance type and striving towards volunteerism and such.
I'd like to have this tabled so I could review this.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I just wanted to be able to pass this information around so that it could be considered. Could I make a motion that we review this again, not at the next meeting, but the following?
We probably just put it back in the agenda for the next
Okay,
meeting.
just put it back in there, yeah.
We don't need to do the motion,
This
I think
time I'll
we can just put it back in the
review.
agenda, yeah.
Mhm.
It's on there.
I mean, unless somebody really wants to vote on something, I mean, but there's no need to make a motion at this point, we're just discussing.
Right.
Okay, looks like there's another item under new business, the discussion of meeting time and place change. I don't know who would like to start the discussion, but
The rules, as far as, I know that you have to, at the beginning of, in April or May, you vote on when and where the meetings are going to be held at. But there has to be a way to bring it up for motion to amend, and then a process by which you have to advertise to the public. And I'd like it explained to me what that process is. Because, you know, for myself and Joe, this meeting's going to go long, so I don't know if I'll get back to work before they lock the doors on me, you know? It's difficult, like I say, when you do have a job, but you still want to serve the public. So there has to be a process. Do you know what that is, what the rules are for?
Yeah, I mean, the board has the power to change when the meeting times are.
Okay.
That's certainly something that could be discussed. I mean, I don't know what you're suggesting. I mean, I know that, you know, some people, you know, are upset because 3 o'clock, they say it's not convenient, you know, whether or not that's a violation of the Open Meetings Act. I mean, I think that convenient would be open to interpretation. I mean, I understand, you know, certainly if, you know, many members of the public who are working, that is, you know, that might be considered convenient. That's probably more something for the Attorney General's office or the court system to define. But in terms of the process, I mean, you know, certainly the board has the ability to change the meeting time and place.
Okay,
You know,
then I make a motion then that we change the time to 6
I
PM.
would like to have that tabled also.
Do I have a second on my motion?
I'll second that.
And that would include the place as well, to a larger venue, City Hall.
I would like to make it City Hall,
Right.
council chambers. I looked at the schedule, and there is nothing scheduled on Tuesday evenings in the council chambers.
First and third Tuesday specifically.
First and
So
third.
should the
First and
township
third
be
Tuesday.
meeting at the city and mix both township and city together? Shouldn't we be separated?
Well, we're
What
separated
about
bodies
going
of
down to
government.
the Parks and Rec Department?
I'd be
As
okay
a
with that.
large
They got a
venue?
nice, yeah, they got a nice location.
I fail to see the reason that we can't stay right here.
Well, it gets a little bit crowded.
But it will not be this crowded after everything's settled down and we get back to normal.
Okay, availability to public access at 6 PM. Would that be a problem that one of the girls won't be here to buzz people coming in the front door and we wouldn't want everybody just coming in the back door?
You know, 6 PM won't work for me, that's my problem.
Well, who does 3 o'clock affect? It can't affect Joe.
Why not?
Because being on the fire department, you're 1 or 2 days a week at your work. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we might have the meeting at 6 and you're working. So the time element doesn't affect you.
It does affect me.
How?
It affects me.
I think that it affects the majority of the tax-paying body of the township that it serves, quite honestly. The majority of the tax-paying body that it serves is inconvenienced by 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekday.
Well, we've never had crowds like this before, and we've adequately did our job.
Because we haven't had it, doesn't mean that it shouldn't be welcome and made convenient to them.
Everybody was welcome. Anybody's welcome.
And made convenient to them, was the second part.
Yeah, I disagree. I've been sitting at this table for 40 years, and I've never seen a group like this before.
Has it all those 40 years been at 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Always. And it was that way before.
Be careful what you wish for.
I'm sorry.
I said, be careful what you wish for.
We have a motion.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second on the floor.
Could you read the motion again, please?
A motion to change the time and place of the township meetings to the first and third, correct me if I'm wrong, to the first and third Tuesday at 6 PM at the City Hall Council Chambers. Is that correct?
Mhm.
And that is the motion, I've written it down, so. Okay, I'm gonna ask for, I guess we need a roll call vote since.
If we're open for discussion, I'd like to
Yeah,
add
there's still.
that City Hall, that's fine, but for people that cannot get around real well or have an automobile, this is very handicap accessible, much better than the City Hall. The only handicap accessible part about City Hall is a ramp out in front, okay? But you gotta park 2 blocks away. There's no parking
We
there.
have no parking.
And even if you park behind the City Hall, you gotta walk 1 block all the way around to the front door. Here, there's a parking lot right there, parking lot in the rear, and we're on 1 level.
What about the Parks Department? Are they ADA compliant?
I'm sure they are.
And I don't know if they'll be, that's something we want to look into, I don't know. So we would need someone to open, I mean, I'm sure City Hall, I mean, obviously we get like, folks, you know, I'm assume Dallas could open it up, but I mean, I don't know how we would call it. I mean, I don't know if the numbers are, who we would need, I have no idea.
Right.
Is it, that wouldn't affect that, would it? It has to in the newspaper at the beginning of the year. Okay.
But I still want to make it the same motion as I had with the change of location to City Hall. Because if the argument against it is that nobody shows up anyway, then most likely that someone will be in a wheelchair, you know?
And I know I'm not really supposed to say, but did we check the schedule? You said you checked the
I
schedule.
checked the schedule. The schedule
Let's see if we-
my wife has, as alderman, shows nothing on Tuesday evenings.
And I guess another issue, just, you know, legally, I guess, we probably need the city's permission to do this. You know, to just go and schedule a meeting at city property without their permission, I think might be an issue. So it might be something what if the city council wants to bring it up, I mean, I'm sure this whole, could, facilitate that. But, just to schedule a meeting at another governmental entity's property without discussing it with them.
Right, it's not like it's a
Right.
one-time
Right.
Right.
thing.
So I know like the annual meeting, that's something that we schedule with them, and, that's actually, dealt with ahead of time.
That's
we
why I
have
wanted to
permission.
put it on,
We could amend the motion and to say pending approval by the city of use of the building. And if denied use of the city hall building, keeping it here but making it 6 PM.
I don't think we should be making contingent, motions like that. I think it should just be one or the other. And then
Right.
if it falls through, let's discuss it again in a couple of
Right.
weeks.
Right,
I think that'd just be a lot cleaner.
right, I agree.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to move the township meetings, same day of the month, different time, different place, 6 PM, City Hall, pending approval of city, their permission granted. Any further discussion? Okay, I'm gonna ask for a roll call vote. Mr. Cordy?
No.
Mrs. Locks?
No?
Mr. Holt?
Yes.
Ms. Schreiber?
Yes.
And Mr. Swarzak?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. And I'm not sure what the proper procedure is, but I'll check with the mayor's office. I don't know if he has to give us, I mean, just to get permission to use the council chambers on a regular basis.
Shouldn't we do that?
I don't know if that's something that may have to go before the council, but I can follow up on that, just so you guys know. I'll check and see what. Okay. There's nothing else on the agenda under new business. Is there anything further that board members would like to discuss under old business?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.